traffic cop is on the road checking for drink driving. A luxury car caught Captain Kenny's attention. The man in the car was wearing a weird glowing ring and had scales appearing on his face. He didn't look like a nice guy. Kenny asks the man to blow on him, but the man drove the car and dragged Kenny for hundreds of meters. The woman also had a devilish look on her face. Eventually, Kenny was thrown to the ground. He was taken to the intensive care unit. Park's son Jack, looking at his unconscious father in his hospital bed, he rushed to the Catholic Church and prayed. The priest told him that if he prayed faithfully, God would answer. But in the end, Kenny died. Jack never believed in God after that, and at his father's funeral, he called the priest a liar. 20 years later, Jack was a top fighter. He's never lost a fight in his career. Today was his 18th fight. When he saw the tattoo of a cross on his opponent's back, a voice suddenly rang in his ears, telling him to avenge his father's death. And when he opened his eyes had changed completely. The fight had just begun. Jack knocked his opponent to the ground with one punch and then sat on top of him. He was about to beat his opponent to death. The referee pulled Jack away just in time, and he had a wry smile on his face. At the airport, Jack had a dream. He dreamt that his father took him to a room. There was a portrait of his father and a cross in the room. That's when the eerie voice rang in Jack's ears again. Revenge, 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 angry. He picks up the cross and throws it. Strangely enough, the crucifix seemed to recognize its owner. It stuck to his hand and didn't move. Suddenly the cross burst into white flames. A black mist slowly floated out of his body. Jack woke up with a start. He thought it was just a dream, but he was surprised to find his right hand was actually scarred. From then on, every night, a dark figure with tentacles trying to enter his body. But when the shadow saw the blood coming from his right hand and fled in fear, Jack would wake up from his sleep, looking at his right hand, which kept getting stranger and stranger. Jack went to the hospital for a checkup, but the test showed nothing unusual. His assistant thought he was messing with something dirty. He recommended his niece, who was a witch. When she was 15, she became very ill. She had been blind ever since, and although she couldn't see people, but she could see the evil spirits that possessed people. So Jack took a chance. To his assistant's niece's house, he met the young wizard. The wizard opened his eyes and saw that Jack was carrying dozens of evil spirits behind him. Because Jack was carrying the ring his father had left him, so the spirits could not harm him for the moment. Following the wizard's instructions, Jack arrived at a Catholic church. Instead, he was attacked by a flock of crows, forcing Jack back into his car. It was clear that someone was trying to stop him from entering the church. Inside the church, Father Tom, with his assistant, was performing an exorcism on a man. Tom poured holy water on the man. Immediately, white smoke came out of the man. His eyes turned an eerie red. The next moment the man burst open his bonds and lunged at Tom. He took on the form of a demon. The assistant had already fled in fear. The demon had a death grip on Tom's neck. In the nick of time, Jack arrived. He pushed the demon away. He then used his fighting skills to knock the demon to the ground. During the fight, Tom was surprised to find that Jack's right hand had an exorcism effect. Tom took the opportunity to pour holy water all over the demon's face. After a terrible scream, the man was finally restored to his original form. Jack asked Tom what happened to his right hand. Tom told him, "It's a scar from the crucifixion of Jesus. It would rarely appear on a devout believer." Jack was instantly furious. He didn't believe in God at all. How could he be a devout believer? That's when the voice in his head started up again. It told Jack to kill Tom. Tom immediately started praying to Jack. Then the voice disappeared. Tom then went to Jack's house. He left a cross behind the picture and left. That night, the demon did not come back to haunt Jack, but the next day Jack found the cross. He came to Tom's house. He put the cross down and left again quietly. Tom returned to his room, dialed the Catholic bishop's phone. After yesterday's exorcism, he was now quite sure the black bishop was in the city. Meanwhile, a man in a suit arrives at the bar. We know by the ring on his right hand. This man is the same man who 20 years ago, the man who killed Jack's father. The strange thing is that he hasn't aged at all. It turns out he's the Black Bishop, as Tom calls him, a messenger of the demons from hell on earth. He sacrifices human hearts to demons to gain the power of immortality. On the other hand, Tom gets another assignment, but with his assistant out of the picture. This time Tom is left to deal with it alone. As he was worried, Jack suddenly came to visit. It turns out that without the cross to guard him, Jack was haunted by a demon again last night. This time Tom gave Jack a bag of rosary beads, telling him that if he put them in his bedroom, the demons would stay away. As a token of his gratitude, Jack drove Tom to the exorcism site. As he watched Tom's back, Jack thought of his father who had died. The feeling made him sad. Looking at the ring his father had left him, Jack decided to act as Tom's assistant and help him with the exorcism. The young girl in front of him was the subject of this exorcism. At first the girl was acting very normal. She didn't look like she was possessed at all. But when Tom poured the holy water into the girl's mouth, white smoke suddenly came out of the girl's mouth and her body began to twist. In no time at all, she turned into a demon. The girl grabbed Tom's neck and threw him out of the air. Jack hurriedly pinned the girl to the bed, but the girl was so strong that she pinned Jack to the roof of the house, as if she could see through Jack's fears. She whispered in Jack's ear that I was the one who killed your father. Jack was so angry that he pinned the girl to the bed. Just as he was about to strangle her to death, Tom stepped forward in time to stop him. Calmly, Jack pressed his right hand to the top of the girl's head. Immediately, white flames emerged from the top of her head. Tom picked up the holy water from the floor. He poured it all over the girl's head. With a terrible scream, the girl fell heavily. At the same time, on the other side, the Black Lord also shed 2 black tears of blood. So it was he who was controlling the evil spirit in the girl's body. Seeing the evil spirit being killed, the Black Bishop took out a doll, preparing to kill the girl by casting a spell. The girl's eyes began to bleed too. Tom rushed to chant the exorcism spell to the girl, and so the two began to fight through the girl. In the end, the fight ended with the Black Bishop's failure. He had to turn to the demon from hell for help. He was ready to use the demon's power to get back at Tom. He found a young boy and put his power in the boy's body, and disguised himself as a priest's assistant. Told Jack he had the same wound on his hand. After being used by Tom, he became like this. Tom was the real evil. And then he left in a hurry. Jack became suspicious of Tom. The next day Tom was given the task of exorcising the boy. He called Jack, but Jack didn't answer Tom's call because he had listened to what the Black Bishop had said. He didn't answer Tom's call. Tom had to come alone to exorcise the demon. But to his surprise, there were hundreds of evil spirits in the boy's body. Soon, Tom's strength ran out. He was pinned to the ground and beaten by the spirits. Jack arrived at the right moment. With the blood from his right hand and the holy water, the evil spirits were destroyed. It turned out that after a lot of inner struggle, he chose to trust Tom. The evil spirits were destroyed again. The Black Bishop took control of a dog and bit the boy to death. The boy's heart was traded for a poisoned tooth. Tom and Jack received the news. Rushing to the morgue to check on the situation, Black Bishop reappears. Jack sees it and rushes out after it. But this is exactly what the Black Bishop has set up. By the time Jack realized what was going on and returned to the room, Tom was already under the Black Bishop's control. The Black Bishop threatens Jack with Tom's life to destroy the scars on his hands. Just as Jack was about to do so, Tom took the initiative and sank his fangs into his body. The toxin instantly filled Tom's body. The Black Bishop cursed and left in a hurry. Jack settled Tom at Trey's house. He ran to the Catholic Church and asked Jesus in a loud voice, why did he stand by and do nothing? It was the same before his father died, and now Tom is doing the same. He changed into Tom's robe and grabbed a bottle of holy water. He gets the address of the Black Bishop from the girl. He broke into the Black Bishop's stronghold alone. With his excellent fighting skills and the blessing of the holy water, Jack took out the attendant at the door with ease. The Black Bishop saw that something was wrong, sacrificing his heart to the demon from hell. When he emerged from the water, he had turned into a scaly monster. The two quickly battled it out. Because of the demon's power, the Black Bishop was not afraid. Jack's stigmata and holy water, and his skin was hardened. Jack soon fell to the ground. The Black Bishop took a bite out of his shoulder. He fell unconscious to the ground. In a daze, Jack saw his father again. He went up to his father and hugged him tightly. His father reached out and passed the power of God to Jack. Jack awoke with a start. The toxin had disappeared from his body, and his right hand was covered in white flames. The Black Lord saw that Jack was not dead. He rushed forward with his fists, but this time he was no match for Jack. After a few moments of struggle, Jack's right hand held Tom's ring and he punched the Black Bishop in the heart. Just as Jack was about to leave, there was a sudden explosion in the well. A creature of countless arms dragged the body of the Black Bishop into hell. With the death of the Black Bishop, Tom's body was safe and sound as the toxins faded away. The two men embraced each other in a tight embrace.